So yeah, he was thinking that you can't beat Bisping. The thing about it is that, like, you guys have to remember that myself and Tim are coming from a very, very tactical standpoint.
Hey guys, if you've been watching the channel the last few months, you'll know I've been talking about getting in a fight as far as a boxing match that I really want to do and I will do. And this discussion, me and Charles from the UK, who is a Cuban boxing expert, former two-time heavyweight champ Tim Witherspoon, like, we discussed a couple of the reasons why I actually have a real chance against guys like Michael Bisping and others. So the whole thing with Michael Bisping, that idea got in my head because he was talking about Frank Dukes, and he said, Frank, call him, and then we called him. And we're awaiting a response because I do want to tie in the Frank Dukes element. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if it's against Michael Bisping or somebody else. I got some other guys on my radar, and something big is going to happen next year. But here's a discussion on why I actually have a really good chance against any of these guys. And it really comes down to basically, discipline and the kind of training I get to do with Tim. Let's just go over a couple other comments. This is one that I'm happy to address because people will point this out, man, and they just make assumptions, like this guy, LOK, he said, you steroid freak Viking. I am very happy. I'd actually prefer to get any fight tested. Like, I am very happy to be natural for life, and I look like this in my 20s, my 30s, and now my 40s. And I will tell you why. Because I am extremely disciplined. I actually know what to do. I don't skip workouts. And if any of these people who say that stuff, by the way, if they literally spent 1 week with me, they train like me, which they probably quit after a day or two, to be honest, man. I've had people work out with me once and be like, I can't do that shit no more. Or I've had people throw up, right? Because you have to build up a tolerance. So I wouldn't even recommend someone work out like me, unless they've been working out for a long time. So, but doing that day in and day out in the discipline, this is why I know I could win those fights, and this is why I'm so confident, because confidence is earned, unlike ego. I earned this for over, almost 30 years. I don't think I've never not had a six-pack since I was in college. This is how disciplined I've been. So imagine putting that same discipline and focus to boxing. This is why I know I could beat a lot of people, and I got these kind of trainers. There's very few people as disciplined as me, and that's just a fucking fact. I'm not just say it, it's a fact, dude.
And hey, David, you spend time here, and everybody, Tim will tell you, you are ridiculously fit. I mean, ridiculously. You eat extremely clean. So you gotta I'll tell you, we saw him in the gym, off the charts, man. Unbelievable.
And that's why I can maintain this all natural, in quote middle age. It's because of the consistency, the discipline, and knowing what I actually need to do. So anyway, those comments, you get them all the time, but they just don't understand because they don't work out like that. They don't eat like that. They're not consistent like that. If they were, then they wouldn't question it because they look like a damn, Rambo character too. In real life.
Yeah, you've got Jay Roos saying that Viking is clean 100% fat. So you've got some people in the chat that are actually using their cerebral talents to
and I know Jay Roos. I've talked to him for a while, and he sees me on Instagram posting, you could see my workouts all the time. It's I don't just I'm gonna work out today. It's no, that's my life. If it's a certain day of the week, there's a certain workout. For the most part, I have a blueprint. Obviously, in the gym, you kind of manipulate things. But, if it's Monday, I'm working out. You don't question it, man. It's just part of your life. Like waking up, brushing your teeth. It's just part of your life. It's just what you do.
Yeah, routine. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was thinking that you can't beat Bisping. The thing about it is that, you guys have to remember that myself and Tim are coming from a very, very tactical standpoint.
Hey guys, just a quick intermission before we get into that. If you want the best supplements, the only ones that I actually recommend, and the best snacks that the company puts out too, Click the link, first form. Look at this Power Pro Bar, man. Like, it's ridiculously delicious. It's got all great nutrients. If you actually read the ingredients list, it's just real food, man. With 15 grams of protein, it's the perfect snack. But anyway, this company has all kinds of great supplements, and that's the only products I actually use. So it's real high quality food, nutrition, hard training, and the right supplements. Natural supplements, of course.
Like Tim's Philly Show, I used to watch Tim when I was young. And I was like, you've got to understand that even in boxing, Tim's Philly Show is a technique that you're watching Tim take almost 15 punches from Larry Holmes, and Tim is just standing there blocking all of them and then walking towards, after Larry Holmes has finished his onslaught, he decides to walk straight into him. And I'm like, how the fuck did he do that? Like, what is even going through his head? And so I'm seeing Tim not taking any damage, you know, and being such a defensive. He was the first defensive genius that I saw. Then Mayweather, and no, it was then James Toney, and then Mayweather. That's how I saw it. And even Pernell Whitaker, just, you know, around the time of Toney, yeah. But Tim was the first one that I saw. I saw him around just before, you know, really watching and focusing even on Tyson. You know, he was like really the first one who brought, you know, order to boxing. You know, when you saw Tim, it wasn't just 50-50 exchange of punches. It was like, I'm going to let you do what you want to do. Throw 15, 20 punches. Yeah, good, that's fine. I'm going to throw one jab and I'm going to land it. And for me, that was just complete science. So someone who's prepared to do that in boxing knows more than the average boxer. You know, so you have to understand that whenever you've got someone who's being trained by Tim, you need to expect great things. And I'm telling you that even from the standpoint of knowing that, you know, you've got boxers coming from different countries. Yeah. So it's something that you really need to understand. So when you're saying that David can't beat Bisping, I think you need to understand that if it comes down to boxing, a year spent with Tim, I don't think that there's yeah. But
3 months?
I'm just saying 1 year because maybe of the traveling, all of that kind of stuff, you know. But you know, when you've got someone trained by him, when Tim passes, that is it. The Philly Show, the knowledge of the Philly Show is pretty much done because Mayweather doesn't know the Philly Show.
He said pass it.
He ain't going anywhere anytime soon, Tim. Don't worry.
No. Well, you know what? Because I want to make people understand that they have to get your number. Like all you guys just like asking about Fury, Zhang, you need to consult with this guy. I'm looking at the camera, guys. I'm looking at the chat now because I'm looking at the screen where I can see David and Tim. But now I'm looking at you guys, the chat. You need to consult this guy, Tim. David is so fucking wise to make sure that he's getting a person that is carrying legendary information, and he's going to use that. He's going to demonstrate that the fight is going to be easy. If you ever watch James Toney after a fight, he's never huffing and puffing. You watch Mayweather after a fight, never huffing and puffing. Tim after a fight,
no bruises on the face.
Yeah, because they're not moving around. They're not throwing all these crazy punches. It's accuracy. They like the whole idea behind this style is to let your opponent come close and lull him into a false sense of security that he sees a target, but that target is impenetrable. And then he comes into target, you block all of these punches because they know the zones of placement of the hands to defend against these punches. And then your opponent is so fixated on his attack that he has no defense. Then you clock him with a jab. But it hurts so much because he has no bracing of his body to take the punch. So you need to consult this guy. I don't want to, like you guys talking about Roy Jones, Chris Eubank, Zhang, whatever. Take Tim's number. He's probably going to be too busy anyway because he's got David to worry about. But maybe maybe after he's dealt with David, he might be able to fit you into his schedule. But I'm not lying to you. Like the Philly show, Mayweather doesn't know the Philly show. Mayweather knows an adaptation of the Philly show.
Yes.
You know, like Tim can give you insight into, and that's why Mayweather calls his he calls it the Mayweather defense. He doesn't even call it the Philly show anymore because I think Mayweather knows. Remember, Mayweather's from Detroit. You know, he's not from Philadelphia. The Philly show is Philadelphian show.
I think that's his ego too.
Yeah. But we don't want him to trademark Philly show. We don't want him to trade. So it's even good that he's using a different intellectual property. So, you know, we don't need to go down that route. So, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but people, like you said, Charles, should take advantage of like guys like Tim when they're still here. There's so much like wisdom and knowledge. There's seminars, they're training. But basically, look, after I trained with
Sorry, David, you know, like, this is the problem about being in the presence of a legend. You have to give him the respect of talking about him as if he's a legend. So you can't even use his first name, you know, you have to say,
I go to Saudi Arabia, man.
Him.
But basically, people will see what I am able to get from you, and then your phone's gonna be blown off the hook because be like, damn, he just did this martial arts in like 3 months. He's doing this. It's like I gotta tap into Tim, you know.
It's not that hard, guys. Either it's not that hard. The Cuban style is really complicated. You got to really listen and pay attention to it. And mine's is just so easy. You just gotta just sit there and listen and watch and practice it. And it's complicated and really good the Cuban way. It's complicated and it's really a good defense and offensive movement too. But it's an old time relaxed defense where you can relax. If you're in good shape, you're gonna really be in a good position to win the fight. Because it's an old time where you can relax and your radar. As soon as your radar see it, it's boom, bam, slip, boom, tighten up, backfire back. And you don't burn that much energy. You don't burn that much energy. So if you practice hard, after like 10 days, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it down. Yup.
I'll point something really cool out right now. I don't know how much Brian told you, Tim, but we're gonna get you, because I've been talking to the creator of Warrior Islands. Of course, it's the mini-series. We finished this season. There's gonna be another season next year, and we're gonna bring the Philly shell to Warrior Island, where we're gonna transport you over there. We got the perfect way to get you on the island.
Where's that at?
We'll be training together. So, like, in real life, we training together, and also on the show, where, funny enough, I play the Viking samurai character. So it's almost like real life blends with, like, a fictionalized world. But we're doing real training in real life, and also we're going to be doing real training on that show next year.